Hello and welcome. I am Lian Buan, and this is Rappler Talk. After 4 years, we have come to the pivotal turn in the trial of jailed opposition Senator Laila de Lima. The defense team has filed demur to evidence in two of her three drug charges, meaning they don't want to proceed to the presentation of their evidence anymore, insisting that the evidence of the prosecution is weak enough to clear and finally free the senator. We have with us today one of the defense lawyers for the senator, Attorney Rolly Peoro. Attorney, magandang araw po.
Magandang araw, Lian, no? At sa lahat ng ating nanonood at nakikinig.
Attorney, can you describe, pakilarawan sa mga nanonood kung gaano ka-importante kung nasan na kayo ng stage ng trial ngayon na nakapag-file na kayo ng demurrer? Kasi maraming hindi nakakaintindi ng ano ba yung demurrer.
Yeah. Thank you, Lian, for that question. To recap, Senator Laila de Lima has 3 drug cases. No? 2 of them are before Judge Akyatan of the Regional Trial Court of Branch 205 of Muntinlupa. In December 2020, last year, the prosecution has already terminated its presentation of evidence. The prosecution has presented 20 and 21 witnesses for these 2 cases.
Mm-hmm.
Motion for demurrer, basically, the demurrer it's a motion to dismiss.
Mm-hmm.
And on the ground, we're stating that the prosecution failed to present sufficient evidence to prove Senator Laila de Lima's guilt beyond reasonable doubt. We first filed a motion for leave to file demurrer. Lian, ang demurrer kasi hindi basta-basta ina-file kasi medyo delikado siyang gawin. You first file a motion for leave to file demurrer, and usually if the courts deem your action to be mere dilatory, pang-delay lang, pang-pabagal, it will be denied. But the court granted us, so sige, you can file your demurrer. We were given sufficient days and we filed our demurrers on January 6 and 7. Basically, sinasabi namin, walang ebidensya, kailangan hindi na to pagpatuloy, no, para napalaya na si Senator Laila de Lima.
Attorney, sabi mo nga, bago ka makapag-file ng demurrer, kailangan mo muna ng pahintulot ng korte, yung motion for leave. Gaano ka-big deal, gaano ka-importante sa inyo na napagbigyan kayong mag-file ng demurrer? And if I'm not mistaken, it was granted in open court.
Yes, Lian. Thank you for that. Nakakatakot kasi mag-file ng demurrer nang wala kang paalam sa court pag wala kang motion for leave. No? If you do that and your demurrer is denied, you're waiving your chance to present evidence. The court will now decide based on the prosecution evidence. So you file first a motion for leave, and if the leave will be granted, and eventually if your demurrer that you filed will also be denied, you will still have the chance to present your evidence. So you don't file outright a demurrer to evidence. No? Nakakatakot, lalo na kung imposable penalty ay lifetime imprisonment.
So kapag na-deny ang demurrer nyo, pwede pa kayong mag-proceed to defense presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Pero pag na-grant ang demurrer nyo, cleared na si Senator de Lima doon sa dalawang kasong yun?
Yes, ma'am. That 2 cases will be dismissed on the merits na. On the merits.
Okay, let's talk about these 2 cases muna, yung nag-file kayo ng demurrer. Sabi nyo nga po, maraming witness present ang DOJ prosecution. Marami sa kanila mga convicts at siguro sa isip ng mga tao, naaalala pa nila yung congressional hearing ng 2016 na humarap sila sa House of Representatives. Paano nyo po masasummarize yung mga sinabi ng mga convict na to sa korte? May pagkakaiba po ba sa sinabi nila sa Kamara?
May pagkakaiba, no, Lian. Ang aking pagpapaliwanag dito sa dalawang kaso, base sa narratives ng mga convicts, isa siyang successful demolition job against Senator Laila de Lima. Ang problema kasi dun sa mga hearings sa Congress, walang pagkakataon si Senator Laila de Lima na makapag-cross-examine man lang o ma-question yung mga detalye na nilatag ng mga convicts na ito. But based on our hearings, when we were afforded the opportunity to cross-examine these witnesses, maraming lumabas na malilinaw na detalye na kung nailabas lang dun sa Kongreso, malinaw na inosente si Senator Laila de Lima.
Pwede po ba tayong magbigay ng example ng detalyeng yon na lumabas?
Dito sa mga convicts na i-present, diyan, ang unang-una sila Hans Tan, Peter Ko, no, and even Nunilo Arile. No. Pag titingnan mo yung naratibo doon sa Kongreso, ang sinasabi, there were deliveries, no, of drug money to Senator Laila de Lima. Yun yung sinasabi. No. But after the presentation of these 20 and 21 witnesses and after inundating the court with a lot of documents, sobrang daming dokumento dito, Lian, no? There were two narratives that were clear to us after we've been given the opportunity to cross-examine. One, no, in the first case, in the criminal case 17165, where Hanstan and Peter Ko allegedly provided monies and were delivered by Rafael Ragos, lumalabas sa naratibo. If the deliveries, which we are denying, no, if it will be believed to be true, makikita mo na ito ay isang bribe money for Rafael Ragos. For two things, no? For the special request inside the bilibid, no, to be continued, special request of the convicts, and second, no, for that release of Hanstan and Peter Ko for their solitary confinement. Before kasi nangyari yung alleged deliveries of money, na-confine sila na Bartolina, sila Peter Ko and Hans Tan dahil sa isang grenade incident.
Bago po ako pumunta kay Rafael Ragos, doon sa mga convicts na yun, Attorney Peter Ko, Hans Tan, meron ba sa kanilang nagsabing nakausap nila ng diretso si Senator De Lima or yung bodyguard niyang si Ronnie Dayan?
Regarding drug trading, no one were able to talk straightly, no, to Senator Laila De Lima, except for Hans Tan when she was approached by Senator De Lima after the raid na, and he was castigated. Hans Tan was castigated by Senator Laila De Lima and was told, no, na huwag kang mag-involve sa mga ganitong transactions. But regarding drug trading, no one, no, directly communicated with Senator Laila De Lima and even Dayan.
So yung akusasyon po na in-extort ni Senator De Lima for her senatorial campaign supposedly, wala sa mga convict ang diretsong narinig yung utos na yon ng pang-extort kay Senator De Lima?
No one, no? Wala silang direct communication kay Senator Laila De Lima. Malinaw ang kanilang mga testimonya na never, they did not communicate directly with Senator Laila De Lima.
Okay, Attorney, I'm gonna go to one particular and very important convict, JB Sebastian, na sinabi niyo nga sa demurrer niyo, parang siya yung linchpin kasi parang ang lumalabas, si JB yung nagsasabi sa mga convict na, ibibigay natin to kay Senator De Lima. And he did plead guilty to one of these three cases which he was co-accused. Pero sumalang po ba siya sa witness stand nung nabubuhay pa siya?
No. Actually, JB appears to be the linchpin in the prosecution's theory simply because all the witnesses point their finger at him as the one involved in the illegal drug trade and the one who gave orders about collecting money. Pero never siya eh. We were really surprised why JB Sebastian was not immediately presented to the court if he was a principal witness. And unfortunately, JB Sebastian died in July 2020 to COVID-19. So yun yung sinasabi namin eh. Linchpin lang siya dahil siya ang tinuturo ng lahat. Na siya nibigay daw ng orders and siya rin yung mangongolekta ng alleged campaign money.
Attorney, was this raised in the court kung bakit hindi present sa witness stand si JB Sebastian noong nabubuhay pa siya?
Hindi rin, no? The prosecution intended to present JB Sebastian, no? But with the pandemic, hindi na nila na-present. Ang naging attempt na lang nila Lian, they presented Attorney Rigel Salvador of Pau, who notarized the affidavit daw, the new affidavit of JB Sebastian.
All right. Pupunta ulit ako sa isa pang convict, si Hans Anton Tan. I was there when Rafael Ragos took the witness stand at ang kwento po niya ay may tumawag sa kanyang isang cryptic call na sinasabing may pera sa ibabaw ng kama mo doon sa quarters sa Bucor. Rafael Ragos was the OIC of Bucor at the time, kung tama po ako.
Yes,
the defense pointed out in the demurrer that Tan did not mention this before. Could you elaborate?
When Hanstan executed a sworn statement in 2016 and even a handwritten statement, Lian, hindi nga niya nabanggit, no? At ang kanyang reason for doing so, sabi niya, he does not want to get involved in any politics.
Anong masasabi niyo doon na because he doesn't want to be involved in politics, he concealed a very pertinent detail in his sworn affidavit?
Clearly, makikita mo there's a pressure, no, to all these convicts. And it can be manifested, it can be clearly shown dun sa stabbing incident kay JB Sebastian, Peter Ko, and Tony Ko. No? Dun pala makikita mo yung pressure that if this case would be stripped to its very essentials, makikita mo na wala talagang ebidensya. It is only politically, no? Political yung reasons for this case.
I'm going to Ragos. So the OIC of Bucor at the time, nung drinop siya ng DOJ, kasi he was a co-accused in one of the 3 cases and he was detained in the NBI where he was an agent and still is an agent. Nung 2017, nung drinop siya ng DOJ so they could use him as witness, did you expect that? Did the defense expect that? Ano yung unang reaction nyo nung nalaman yung idodrop na siya?
Again, we did not expect Ragos to be dropped, no? For several reasons. First, procedural errors. Ragos was dropped in the information by mere amendment of the information. We were stating that there should be a reinvestigation. You cannot drop Ragos, which we consider as the most guilty, by mere amending the information. And sabi nga namin, there's no absolute necessity for the testimony of Ragos. If you want to discharge Ragos, you have 40 plus witnesses in your list. Ganun ba siya kalala para kailangan nyo siyang i-discharge? And we're telling them, Ragos is the most guilty based on the testimony of General Magalong and even June Ablen, the NBI agent. They were telling that Ragos is the most dirty in this case. Even the NBI complaint will tell that Ragos is the most guilty. So we're telling, how can Ragos be dropped in this information?
Yeah, I was there when General Magalong took the witness stand at tinanong siya ni Judge Akyatan kung did Senator De Lima ever come up in their intel as being involved in the drug trade? And General Magalong said no. At sinabi niya, actually, si General Ragos yung lumabas sa intel nilang involved sa drug trade. So in your demurrer, you're saying that the DOJ obstructed and obscured the truth about the believed drug trade kasi parang they turned a blind eye on Ragos, who you say is the one involved in the drug trade, just to be able to jail Senator De Lima. So the demurrer basically accuses Ragos as the one being involved in the drug trade. What were the details that came up in the hearing that will support your assertion?
Well, we're telling na we did not tell that Ragos is involved in drug trade. We're telling the court that all witnesses are in agreement that they have no personal knowledge of the illegal drug transactions and they are not involved in the illegal drug transactions. In our demurrer to evidence, we stated na based on your evidence, actually Senator De Lima is innocent. The testimony of General Magalong is clear. There's no intelligence report linking Senator De Lima in drug cases. And actually, she led the biggest raid in the Bilibid in 2014. Ragos talagang pinipinpoint nila na accused dito sa kaso na yan.
So parang siya yung makakasagot kumbaga ng mga tanong kung meron ba, ano bang nangyayari sa drug trading sa Bilibid. Is that what the demurrer was trying to say?
Yes. Actually, ang sinasabi namin sa demurrer, the narrative in Criminal 165 with Ragos is actually a bribery case. He was involved in soliciting money from the inmates to continue the special requests, the cell phone, the motorcycle, the air conditioning, the special privileges, and for the temporary release in the solitary confinement of Peter Ko and Hans Tan. There was no illegal drug transactions were mentioned.
Just to recall, attorney, ang narrative ni Ragos ay binigay sa kanya yung pera mula sa mga convict at sinabing ibigay mo kay Senator at sila ni June Ablen yung pumunta sa bahay ni Senator. Yun ang kwento niya. Tama po ba?
Yun ang kwento ni Ragos.
Yun ang kwento ni Ragos. So, pupunta po ako sa, diba, lagi nga nating naririnig, testimonies, words, yung laway, so weakest evidence and documents and paper trail are actually the strongest evidence. But 2 years ago, a year ago, the DOJ has always promised meron silang AMLAC report.
Yes.
I saw the affidavit of the AMLAC witness, si Artemio Baculi, and
Yes.
none of the affidavits mentioned Senator De Lima. Meron pa bang ibang report na tayong pinag-uusapan? Meron pa ba silang ibang pinapangakong report?
There were no reports, Lian. They presented three witnesses, as you mentioned, Mr. Artemio Baculi, the next si Mr. Monico Villar, and si Attorney Canulas. But all of them did not provide any AMLAC reports regarding Senator De Lima. Yun yung aming pinapoint out din sa aming demurrer. Lahat sila nagsasabi na there's no investigation regarding Senator De Lima for illegal drug transactions or suspicious transactions regarding money laundering.
So
No?
what was the AMLAC investigation about?
For Monico Villar, he focused on the DERA account. No? For Attorney Canulas, he focused on the Coco Jewelry account that was mentioned by Mr. Arile.
Mm-hmm.
And for Mr. Baculi, the AMLC representative, he focused on the investigation surrounding Mr. Peter Ko and other Chinese allegedly drug lords. But there were no reports regarding Senator Laila De Lima.
You mentioned the DERA account. This is Jad Dera, one of the co-accused in the
Yes.
two cases na kay Judge Lizelle Akyatan, tama po ba? It's one
Yes.
of the two. Ito po yung sinasabing pinsan daw ni Senator De Lima. Ulitin po natin, pinsan po ba siya? Kaano-ano siya? Kilala ba siya ni Senator De Lima?
There's no relationship between Jad Dera and Senator Laila De Lima. Personally,
Magkakilala po ba?
never, no. Jad Dera is a government agent, a police agent, no. And he used that statement to enter into relations with Hanstan, Peter Ko, and all other personalities in the Bilibid. So name dropping lang basically kay Senator Laila De Lima. And Hanstan and Peter Ko did not establish this link between Dera and Senator Laila De Lima. Actually, yes.
Sino po ang nag-link kay Dera at kay Senator De Lima? Si Dera po ba ang nagbanggit kay Senator De Lima or nilink lang sila?
Depende kung sinong tatanungin mo, Lian. Minsan, siya daw ay bodyguard, siya daw ay staff ni Senator Laila De Lima, pamangkin, no, pamangkin ng ex ni Senator Laila De Lima. But Hanstan and Peter Ko did not offer any evidence to establish these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So, hindi nila alam kung sino daw yung nagsabi. We just assume na totoo nga daw na may relasyon.
Attorney, was Jad Dera ever presented to court? Because he's still a myth to me. Parang...
I think when you were attending the cases, no, at large pa rin si Jad Dera. But later on, he was arrested. No?
Okay. So he's in custody.
Oh, in custody na siya.
Was he ever presented to the court, attorney?
Yes. He attended court hearings na rin. Then after the onslaught of pandemic, online na lang yung mga.
Can you briefly tell us ano po yung mga laman ng mga sinabi ni Jad Dera on the witness stand?
Jad Dera is an accused, so he was not presented. He was only present as an accused.
Okay.
Give any testimony regarding this case.
One of the things you said also in the demurrer, and not the demurrer necessarily, but in the other pleadings, was that you're alleging that there was a prosecutorial misconduct on the part of the DOJ prosecution team. Can you cite examples ng mga nangyari sa loob ng korte na hindi namin alam that would support your assertion that there was such a misconduct?
Ang concern kasi namin, Lian, the prosecution has the propensity to add more witnesses and more documents. And we're telling that we should be bound by the pretrial order. No? But they keep on producing more evidence that were not included in this pretrial order. It was allowed by the court, so okay na kami doon. The problem, the prosecutorial misconduct that we're stating is very manifest during the presentation of the PDEA witness, Caseñas.
Can you tell us what happened po?
When PDEA witness Caseñas was presented, she mentioned that she had extracted the contents of over 1,000 cell phones throughout her career. But when asked by the court how many times has she presented the forensic before the courts, it was the first time that she was presented before the court. due to the prodding of the panel of prosecutors. And when we were asking, no, yung mga detalye, saan niya nakuha yon, no? It was fed to her by the prosecution. The example was when she testified regarding the information that the cell phones were owned by Peter Ko, because the ownership of the cell phones were uncertain.
Mhm.
She testified that it was only fed to her by the prosecution. The same goes with the supposed 900,000 bank transaction that was deposited on the account of Dera. It was not based on her extraction report but only supplied to her by one of the prosecutors. So yun yung sinasabi namin, no?
Yun pong sinasabi niyong it was fed to her by the prosecution, the fact that these cell phones were owned by a certain person. Sinabi niya po ba yun sa judge, sa witness stand na sinabi sa akin ng prosecution?
During the cross-examination, Lian, yun yung lumabas. No? No?
Okay. Punta po ako sa third case. This is pending in another court. The prosecution is set to present witnesses for the purpose of bail. So para sa akin po nung na-map ko na okay, may demurrer na sa dalawa pero magbe-bail pa sa pangatlo. Hindi po ba baka makatagal yung bail plea nyo sa pangatlo? Kasi kung mag-grant yung demurrer niya sa dalawa, tatagal pa yung isa, then she would still be jailed.
Yes. No? To answer that question, Lian, yung third case kasi, due to confluence of factors, na-delay siya ng na-delay. Nag-retire si judge, napa-inhibit yung dati, nagkaroon pairing judge, then nagkaroon ng bagong appointment. In this case, out of the 54 intended witnesses, no, of the prosecution, they were only able to present 5. And the other co-accused, General Bukayu and Jadera, they all already filed their motion for bail. So we also filed our motion for bail. Sinasabi namin na lahat naman nung witnesses presented for bail will be adopted. Their testimonies will be adopted doon sa main case. So okay lang yun na magtuloy-tuloy pa rin. We just want our bail motion to be granted para makalaya si Senator Laila de Lima habang tuloy-tuloy yung presentation ng prosecution evidence.
Attorney, dun sa 2 charges before Judge Lizelle Akyatan where you filed demurrer, meron pa rin ba kayong pending motion for bail?
Yes, meron kaming pending motion for bail din doon. Nauna rin namin i-file yun last year.
So those are the things that you're looking at to get to free Senator de Lima?
Yes. Yes.
Sir, syempre dun sa dalawa, kahit it's filed before one judge, it's still 2 cases. How likely it is na magiging pareho yung resolution ng judge sa dalawang kaso? Kung deny sa both, kung grant sa both?
We're hoping for the same resolution sana na favorable sa aming ligan. We're hoping na Judge Akyatan would only look into the merits. And we're confident that if merits lang ang pag-uusapan, we have the same grounds for both the murders, Lian. First, there is no drug case because there is no drug evidence to be that was presented in the first place. Take note na imposable penalties for violation of drug cases are dependent on the specific drugs and the quantity involved. Dito walang na-present ang prosecution na droga talaga. This is the only drug case in the Philippines or maybe in the whole world, Lian, that there is no drug evidence. Second, there's no proof of conspiracy. Di ba? In fact, there's a very strong evidence of innocence for Senator Laila de Lima because from the Bucor investigator up to General Magalong, they were all in unison that there is no intelligence report linking Senator Laila de Lima in drug trading, and she was in charge in the in the drug raid in the Bilibid in December 2014. And even the AMLAC representatives, they were all telling Senator Laila de Lima is not under any investigation for suspicious transactions.
Attorney, how about yung supposed delivery? Siyempre may date yon. Ano na nga po yung date kung kailan daw siya deliver ni Ragos?
For the criminal case 17165, it was delivered on November 2012 and December 2012.
All right. Meron po bang nakitang, siyempre, pera yon, Meron po bang nakitang after November 2012, days after, may pumasok bang medyo ganun same amount sa kahit anong bangko ng senador? Because that's usually how you would
Actually,
build
Leah,
up.
yung gusto namin, there were accounts that were mentioned in the testimonies, and we tried to subpoena those accounts because we were confident na walang lalabas kay Senator Laila de
As
Lima.
in, isasabpina niyo po yung bank account
Yes,
mismo ng
yes.
kliyente niyo, yes.
Ng kliyente, di ba? And even the AMLAC representatives, they were all stating that they did not conduct any investigations against Senator Laila de Lima. Walang pumasok na anumang pera daw kung anumang account. In fact, we were actually smiling when the news came out in October 2020 that Senator Laila de Lima is again ranked the poorest in the Senate. No? And we were hoping for the AMLAC report to come out in the open, and maybe it's not the unexplained wealth that will be exposed. Maybe the unexplained poverty of Senator Laila de Lima were stating there's no illegal drug transactions or money pouring in into her accounts.
Mm. Attorney, kunwari nag-grant yung demurrer nyo dun sa dalawang kaso, how likely it is na the third case in a separate court will follow, mag-grant yung motion for bail and favorable then? How closely related are these three cases?
We cannot tell what will the judge in criminal case 167 will do because it is an independent court and even the allegations are also different. In criminal case 17167, the allegation happened in 2013 naman involving 70 million pesos and several accused. No? But we are confident in our motion for bail that again, the 5 witnesses presented so far by the prosecution, it already established the innocence of Senator Laila de Lima. Si General Magalong pa rin ang kanilang unang witness, and again, Senator Magalong is very categorical that there was no intelligence report involving Senator Laila de Lima in any illegal drug trading.
All right. Yung pag-cover ko talaga ng kasong to, the first year, hindi makausad dahil ina-amend pa yung information. It was supposed to be drug trading and then naging conspiracy to commit drug trading. Ang daming judge na nag-inhibit, nag-early retirement. Ang daming nangyari. Given everything, how would you assess the pace of trial? Was it too slow? Or okay naman given compared to other cases you've handled before?
I think that's a problem with our criminal justice system. No, we're so slow. No, as I have mentioned earlier, Senator Laila de Lima, despite the presumption of innocence, no, is still detained in PNP now for 1,432 days. So generally, short answer, it is very slow. But in fairness with Judge Akyatan, she really tried to make it happen na every week merong hearings. Just consider the dockets of the courts. No? They have hundreds or even thousands with the advent nitong mga tokang cases. Sobra silang nalunod ng kanilang drug cases.
Is Judge Lizelle Aquiatan's court an exclusive drug court?
I think hindi na eh. Every court now is a drugs court yan because of the quantity of drug cases involved now. So,
Attorney, let's point out din na may continuous trial dapat. So, ideally, dapat tapos na in 6 months or a little more.
yes.
But ito, 4 years.
Yes. With the continuous trial rule, it should be really very short. In fact, in petitions for bail involving drug cases, it should be resolved within 20 days upon receipt of the last comment from whoever, the parties involved. The motion for bail submitted by accused Bukayu was in 2017, filed in 2017, Lian. It's already 4 years na. So, nakatagal. No? We can see the effort of Judge Akyatan, of the courts to expedite it. But because of many reasons, despite our insistence to make it very, very speedy and continuous, we also have to take note that there are a lot of cases before the courts. Baka naman sabihin kami yung sobrang special kung everyday kami here. But we want that. We want that.
Attorney, I don't know if you could reveal this, pero in the event that the demurrer was denied and you have to move to the presentation of your evidence, would you put Senator De Lima on the witness stand?
Senator De Lima is in the witness list, and we're sure that she can clarify a lot of things. If worst comes to worst, maybe we need to present her, But we're hoping that with our demur to evidence and with the weaknesses of the prosecution's evidence, we will have no use, no, for Senator Laila de Lima. We will have no chance for her to be presented in court.
Okay, last question, attorney. What is your most conservative estimate or hope kung kailan lalaya si Senator Laila de Lima?
Our best scenario, Lian, if the demurrers will be granted, the two cases will be dismissed in mid-February.
Oh, malapit na. February na next week.
Yes, because we filed it on January 6 and 7. The prosecution were given 10 days to comment, and they did, no? And the court has 30 days to resolve the same, no, after the receipt of the prosecution's comment. So the prosecution's comment was filed on January 16, 17. The court should resolve it on or before February 16 or 17. So we're hoping for a happy February, happy Valentine's, Lian. No?
Para kay Senator Laila.
Senator Laila de Lima. But for case 167, because of the intended 54 witnesses, that will take much longer, Lian. So we're hoping that our motion for bail will be granted, and we're parking on our ground that Senator Laila de Lima is not a flight risk. In the case of Senator Enrile, the Supreme Court stated that you should consider the political status of the accused, no? And considering that Senator Laila de Lima is a former chairperson of the Commission on Human Rights, former secretary of the Department of Justice, and a current senator, there's no probability of flight. Lalo na ang aming argumento, inosente talaga yan. No? At alam ng prosecution, sa dami ng aming fina-file, no, we intend to fight this in court. We will pursue this, no, legally. No? So sana, kung matapos yung motion for bail ng March at ma-resolve, baka May, mapalaya namin provisionally si Senator Laila de Lima this year.
Okay, maraming salamat po. That was Attorney Rolly Peoro, one of the defense lawyers for Senator Laila de Lima. This is Lian Buan. Thank you for watching Rappler Talk.
Thank you, Lian.